This is D with Divine L, and I wanted to share the astrology coming up over the next month. It's New Year's Eve, so thought I would spend a little time working out some of that with you all. It's early morning, and I'm just getting started with my day. So, some very interesting things that are going to happen over this next month. Kind of hang in there. It's kind of like the way I describe it is think of it as you're getting ready and you're in the process of taking your finals right now. Many of you that are here on missions, I know many of you are being put through um, basically challenges that have come up before in your lives. And how you navigate those. Maybe you didn't make the right choice the first time this challenge was presented to you. So they're being presented to you again. You could have made the right choice the first time. So sticking with that choice with the same thing presented, but generally, the vast majority, 99.9999999%, you didn't make the right choice. So it's being presented again. Just some of those finals. Remember, try to keep a sense of humor. This is the workings of the holodeck. This is the clockworks. The ruler of those clockworks is right here, Kronos. It's fascinating to me because Kronos is represented as a man many times, but as we know, many of the angels and many things are inverted by those that would love to cover things up. Well, we know one place that happens, that's been happening, and it was because they were trying to defame and wipe away the goddess. Saturn, Kronos, is not a male, it's a female. This is the ancient ruling planet of Aquarius. Aquarius is special, she gets two. Saturn originally, and then Uranus was added. The rebel. Yes. It's rather fascinating. As above, so below, as within, so without, right? The heavens do entertain. So try to keep this in mind. This is the clockworks of the holodeck. Everything that's happening to you was pre-programmed. So keep a sense of humor, even though it's very hard because we feel very grounded in this 3D holodeck thing. Everything's an illusion, except for, guess what? Love. It's the only thing that isn't. Oh, that's what we're here learning, how to balance ego and love, right? The yin and the yang, etc. Unfortunately, this is duality in the holodeck that does not exist anywhere else. It's because it's here that the souls are, well, They're in an oubliette, so to speak. It's one way to think about it. And there's only one way out. Right? I'm just, when I'm doing, you have to excuse me clearing my throat. It's an allergy thing, and it has to do with our bloodlines and our genetics. And when you're allergic to pretty much everything on the entire planet, there you go. Allergy fest. My girlfriend and her significant other are here, and she experiences, she's a few years behind me in the healing process. She's just discovering what's wrong with her and uh, setting in motion what I did to keep from dying, literally. More of the shenanigans of those that want to cover up the truth because they didn't want us to wake up. So they've done everything to impede that. Well, guess what? It didn't work. And it makes our missions that much more difficult. But we're going to push through anyway. Because those of you down here on missions, and those of you that don't realize that you are yet, or some that are along for the ride, yeah, this isn't an easy journey. Because even once the throne is fully acknowledged, it's an uphill climb. We have a lot to do to bring this place into the full realization our dreams come true. Let's bring heaven to earth, heaven to the holodeck. So, that's a big dream of mine. Always has been. Setting you all free. It is the way of Aquarius, right? We're about community and giving, and our love flows deep. We don't show it outwardly sometimes. We're learning, many of us. That's been a long journey for me, considering I had parents that didn't even hug us. So that's been a long journey. But it's something that has to be learned when you grow up in that environment. Anyway, I digress. So basically, I just wanted to share thoughts, things that are rattling around in my expansive cranium. It feels like there's 50,000 universes up in there, and I'm traveling all of them all the time. Trying to answer those questions. Remember what I told you guys. Never stop asking why. Oh, yeah. Gotta know the answers, don't we? I know I do. I want answers. And I want them all now. Unfortunately, I don't get them all now. But that's part of the program too, I guess. Sip of coffee. Sorry. Mm. Anyway, thoughts rattling around in the head. Oh, one thing I'm still pondering the whole issue with all the people here. a great many stepping forward, professing to be the incarnate of one deity or another. There's a bunch of them that think they're Gabriel, bunch of them think they're Michael, bunch of them think they're Jesus, which is Michael, a bunch of them that think they're the goddess, a bunch of them that, but soul splitting did happen, so that could be a rational explanation for all of it. Um, Ergo, they are actually part of the actual deity incarnate. So, working with them, especially if they don't realize they're not the actual deity, the one that holds the most of that soul in general, may have difficulty um, with reasoning that out. But it's a matter of balancing duality and dropping ego and just looking at facts, which is fascinating. But they are a piece. Well, everybody has a piece of the goddess inside of them. That's a given. She's the one that breathed life into you, into the humans, and got this party started. That's why it's all her fault. When they told me it was my fault, I talked about that a long time ago in my streams. Um, they told me it's all my fault, and I got angry with Adnan and Gabriel. I was like, what do you mean it's my fault? Well, Sophia created Yaldabaoth. Yaldabaoth is the combination of the archangels. Yeah, Sophia and Yaldabaoth. Sophia and Pan, which I believe just so happens to be Uriel. Anyway, I digress. Um, yeah, the holodeck. And these other incarnates. Part of my mission that Gabriel and Ed and I put me on was finding out who I really was, finding out the truth behind that. And I didn't realize that was going to be part of the deal until it was happening. Because originally the channel was basically talking about them and the paranormal experiences I have and have had since I was, well, my earliest memories, which go way back, considering I remember being in the room outside of my mother while she was pregnant with me. So I remember actually coming into the holodeck. She would have been about 7 to 8 months along at the time. Probably 8. Approximate. Anyway, so the thing is with incarnates, one thing that I've come to the knowledge of is we incarnate inside our same bloodlines, and that DNA has been under attack, trying to slow us down on this waking up thing. So I guess it's just an additional challenge we're going to have to cope with. But the other incarnates being able to prove their lineage goes a long way into finding out which one's the actual deity that holds the preponderance, the um, most of that soul energy. It doesn't make the other ones less important, however, keep that in mind. So, for instance, with Michael, aka Jesus, aka Inky, aka a bunch of other names, that I, here's a for instance. I ran across one that thinks he is, because he started trying to correct me in the comment section under another video. It's part of the hangers on of the old faction, the old paradigm. The hellfire, brimstone, damnation crowd. Yeah, the age of Pisces. Boy, are they going to have a hard time adjusting. Because that system of subjugation, tyranny, control, and fear-based BS is over. But they're still living in it, so we still have to deal with them. At least for the moment. Seems they're behind on their soul progression, and I really quite honestly don't know what will happen with them, since they're ego-based, very ego-based, and all about, yeah, it's fascinating, but, you know, it's like that song from Enigma, Rivers of Belief. They're stuck in a different river. And I'm not sure exactly what happens, but some of you guys are making it to the party, and some are not. Anyway, so when you're handling or dealing with people that their soul just has not progressed, you know, I couldn't resist when he came in and tried to correct me. I couldn't resist the opportunity to enlighten. And it was like throwing, well, they say pearls to swine or whatever. It was just like throwing it into an empty, um, throwing the words into an empty, hollow void, basically. But it wasn't completely wasted, because those that visit those comments and read it might actually gain something from it. So it wasn't 100% a waste of time. But the thing I want you guys to know is always project love at them, even though it'd be fun just to tear them to pieces or shreds verbally. Resist the urge to do that. Project love towards them. Because seriously, you have to think about their soul's progression is way behind. And that's extremely sad. Extremely heartbreaking that they're stuck in that old paradigm. So try to have compassion for them, even though it's difficult and you want to ream them a new one. Wake them up, shake them. rattle their tree, right? Yeah. So take the opportunity to teach, perhaps. There's a good chance it'll fall on deaf ears, but keep compassion in mind. And they'll throw the hellfire brimstone. You're a demon. I bind you. I cast you. Blah, blah, blah. Guess what? That doesn't work with me. And he, after he did that, I could not resist posting further. It's like, here's the deal. You just supposedly bound me, but here I am responding. Ergo, your binding was not successful. Ergo, you're not who you state to be. I couldn't resist. I couldn't. Um, but sometimes those little tower moments that you give them might shake them awake. Who knows? One can hope. Or at least put the seeds in there. And you can just hope that they don't die if they're not watered, right? So, yeah, I even told him all he has to do is cast his gaze on Mecca because he kept proclaiming he was the cornerstone. I was like, last I checked, Mecca did not have a penis. So yeah. what what they fear, you know, are some bad examples of women. And they fear women having power. And yeah, there's some bad apples out there as far as women go. But most women don't want their masculine to be emasculated, right? They don't want, that's the last thing they want. They just want balance. And is what the age of Aquarius is about, balancing the yin and yang, the divine feminine, divine male. Letting him be and live to his truest potential without fear. This current system teaches them to fear and war, jump to war immediately, right? When they don't have to, when they can love and cry and be their full selves. They're not taught to be that, not to be everything they can be. They're taught to, be very unbalanced. The women are too, just saying. Very unbalanced, but it's bringing all that into balance, the age of Aquarius. Anyway, I wanted to share the amazing machine in action. And this is the planetary lineup and where they are in what sign. Okay. And this is today's. This is where they're all sitting today. And right now, up here in Aquarius, you've got Jupiter, which is Gabriel's planet, and Saturn, Aquarius's planet, Kronos, the ancient ruler. And it's fascinating because the other ruling planet of Aquarius is down here in Taurus, aka Uriel. So you've got the archangels, you've got the one in the north, south, east, west, right? Uriel. I remember in the codes they told me resurrect Uriel in the east. I was like, what the hell are they talking about? Turns out it's my husband. Yep. Now I know what they meant. Sometimes it takes me a while to catch up. I always get there though, one way or another. And I'm like, duh, why didn't I know that or think of that right off the bat, right? I suspected I knew who he might be, but it took some time for other facts to come forward, and I was like, oh, yeah, that's definitely him. So, you can feel it energy soul wise, but your your mind wants to say, is that even possible? Is that really going on? Is that really happening? Because you try to um, uh, keep logic in the entire equation. Because when anything happens paranormally in any way, I automatically go into investigative mode, trying to rule out other possibilities. My science reasoning skills in action. But anyway, these planets, let's get back to this. These planets and what's going to happen over this coming month is nothing short of amazing. And the gal that I watch is Divine Debut. Her name's Kathy. Divine Debut 11. I'll include a link to her doing the Astro on what I'm getting ready to show you because she better describes what's going on. But there are some things I really want to point out. And Apollo is just being insistent. No, Apollo, I'm not picking you up right now, baby. The messenger. Anyway, go play with your brothers. Go wreak havoc. Go on, sir. He's under my feet wanting me to pick him up. He's adorable. Anyway, something that's really adorable is watching Zeus and Artemis playing. It's pretty funny. Okay. So these planets and the clockworks of the holodeck. And the ruler of time being Saturn. Whoever controls time is the architect, is the one who created the holodeck. Saturn's represented by the cube and has a rather large vagina on the corner. Like I told him, last I checked, Mecca did not have a penis. He's like, Mecca's evil. You know how they've taught them to look at the divine feminine as a monster, demon, evil, blah, 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 blah. On infinitum. Just look at the movie Queen of the Damned and many other examples. I'm trying to demonize the goddess, the Holy Spirit, and as others say, Holy Ghosted. Anyway, so Jupiter, Gabriel's planet, is in the sign of Aquarius right now with Saturn. Their conjunction was the handoff, so to speak, of the throne. What is interesting is, and they're calling it the Lotus throne. That's what they're telling me. What's hard to put across is, what do you do with a king queen that doesn't really want the throne, wants the throne, but doesn't want the throne? What do you do about that? Because, like that Pink song, What About Us? I don't want control. I want to let go. The control system that's been in place is history, or soon will be. And what do you do with a king queen that just wants you set free and doesn't want control? And doesn't want anybody else controlling you either. So she has to rule, whether she likes it or not. But her every action's going to be with the consideration that you're free. Interesting line of thought, right? How do you do that? How do you do that? I think I've gone above and beyond, proving that I'm probably her. And I admit, nobody else has managed to come forward with what Gabriel and I pointed me at. So the likelihood is that I'm holding the strongest piece, but there's many others, and they want to, based on what I see, they're very loving and really good pieces of her, and are going to be required to help keep control from happening. So it's actually fantastic. It works in our advantage that the soul splitting occurred. Because she's going to need a lot of help getting things, setting everyone free. But anyway, what do you do with a queen that doesn't want to rule or control, but wants to make really wise decisions? Because if she doesn't step into her power, somebody else will. And there's a lot of people that would love to have that throne. So anyway, the planetary movements over this next month are very reflective of what will be happening down here. So paying attention to the clockworks of the holodeck will help you understand what's happening on the planet, as above, so below. And sorry, I need to stretch. Oh yeah. A little more coffee is in order. Okay. This is today, and the alignments today. Look at all the lovely triangles happening. But as you can see, we got the north node here, south node here. Venus is, and the node is up in Sagittarius right now. So that is the thing, Venus is love. That is the thing that's keeping all of this, like the full moon in Cancer, from being extraordinarily burdensome. The lineup that's getting ready to happen over the next month. The different lineups are going to be wowza. So I'm going to progress this, march this forward. We're on today. And I'm going to march it forward by day. And here's the first, New Year's Day. Pretty fascinating. But I'm going to hop up and show you some things. Here's the 8th. Now, at this point, the messenger, Mercury, this is Apollo, has passed the sun, gotten information from the sun, and has moved into Aquarius. It's at 0 degrees on January 8th. Interesting, very thick lines happening here. Because as you see, the majority of the planetary body is over on this side of the zodiac. Fascinating, right? The only one that's not is the moon. And on that date, it's sitting in Scorpio, January 8th. So Mercury's moving into Aquarius on the 8th, the messenger, coming to bring news. Okay? And Venus is at 0, and Mercury is at 0 on the 8th. So is Mars, down here getting ready to enter into Taurus. Some interesting things will be happening down here. In Uriel's sign, the fixed signs are Aquarius, Taurus, Leo, and Scorpio. They represent the 4 angels, angel north, south, east, west, etc. They are the fixed signs. They are the archangels. So, yeah. Anyway, so the only thing that's not on this side of the north and south node is the moon at this point. Sitting in, guess what? The fixed sign of Scorpio. Fascinating, right? Okay. This is the 8th. Let's progress a week. Here's the 15th. Now look at this interesting pattern that's happening. Looks like an infinity sign, doesn't it? With flattened sides, but an infinity sign nonetheless. The energies are getting really interesting. The moon is in Aquarius at this point, and Venus has moved into Capricorn out of Sagittarius. She's 8 degrees in now, right here. She was over here in Sag. So Venus is going to be going through the earthly plane, basically, of Capricorn. So just pay attention to these planets. So we got Mercury that's ran out here and delivered its message to Saturn, delivered its message to Jupiter, and has now gone out ahead. Now we're going to change this to daily. And this is the 15th. And I'm going to jump ahead 5 days. We still have an infinity sign going on. And also, take a look. There's nothing on this side of the zodiac. Nothing. Everything's on this side. And we're at the 18th at this point. Mars has entered Taurus by this point. So you have the god of war in with Uranus, which is freedom, enlightenment, the rebel, right? They don't like people being abused, Uranus. It's about community and doing what's right for others. Okay. Let's progress a couple of days here. And things get interesting. On the 19th and 20th, Saturn and Uranus will be conjunct. And that's when the new president's supposed to be sworn in. Look at the interesting thing going on here. Sun's just getting ready to go into Aquarius and join Mercury, Jupiter, and Saturn. Notice that Black Moon Lilith is down here with Uranus and Mars. Let's progress a day into the 20th, the day that's supposed to happen. Now, the moon has joined these three in Taurus. And the sun has just stepped into Aquarius. Right? So that's going to be a very challenging time. And I'm going to put a link to Divine Debut 11's Astro on this because she explains it very well. But an important date when you have the moon, the black moon, Mars, and Uranus all sitting in Taurus. Because Taurus is an earth sign, a fixed earth sign, Archangel Uriel. So now I want to progress forward. And I want you to watch what happens here in Aquarius as we move forward. Let's go forward a week from the 21st. Look at that gigantic triangle happening here. And another one right here. This puts us at January 28th. Now we're going to go down to the day. Let's move up a day. 29th. Look at that. The only thing on this side of the nodes is the moon. One more day to the 30th. Interesting, right? Still have these three together. And Mars will be conjunct with Black Moon Lilith that day. 11 degrees. Oh, something else I wanted to share with you. When in the codes they were telling all of you not to fear the 11s, not only are they talking about twin flames, but guess who the 11th house of the zodiac is? Aquarius. Hmm. Hmm. Now, something else that's interesting here. These two are at 11 degrees, and so's the sun in Aquarius at 11 degrees. So, Mercury, the sun, Jupiter, Saturn, and guess what? This is the 30th. Boom. Let's look at the 1st of February. Or no, this is the 31st. Okay. One more day. The 1st of February. What do we have here? Venus has just marched into Aquarius too. Look at all the planets in Aquarius. Can't make that up. They're all marching in to pay their respects to the new ruler. Fascinating, right? I was like, wow. Just wow. And this date, the 1st, when Venus marches into Aquarius, just so happens to be my birthday. Yup. Can't make that up. So, as above, so below. Like I said, when I was born is important. It was a massive clue about who I was. Massive. I didn't realize how important until I looked at this astrology chart coming up now that we're in the age of Aquarius. But all these planets are here recognizing Aquarius and the Passover. Mercury, the messengers, come through, giving everybody the message, and now everybody's paying their respects. Uranus is down here holding off Mars and Black Moon Lilith. The only other one we have somewhere else, besides Chiron and the moon, is Neptune sitting in Pisces. Interesting, right? Or no? Yeah, that's Pisces. Never mind. Yes, in Pisces. So everybody's paying their respects. And Neptune's also, aka Adonai, but so is the sun. And the sun is up in an Aquarius making the acknowledgement. So Neptune doesn't need to attend the party because the sun's already there. Yeah. So I thought the lineup was extremely fascinating. This lineup is amazing. The energy that will happen because of this, it's going to be amazing. Look forward to that day. I know I am. But the trials and tribulations through January and the interesting lineup on the 19th, 20th of Mars and Uranus going conjunct, and then Mars and Black Moon Lilith after that. And a bunch of them sitting in 11 degrees, and it just so happens that Aquarius is the 11th house. Yeah. Anyway, I'll include a link for her description of the events and how these energies play. But these guys all marched in, and she's finally stepping in to Aquarius, Venus. Now, what's fascinating is Venus is Taurus's ruling planet, and she's in Aquarius. And Aquarius, one of its ruling planets, is sitting in Taurus. Archangel Uriel. He's incarnate. Mm-hmm. The other two, I don't think they are. I've never felt like they were, but I could be wrong. It just doesn't feel like it. Based on our communication and how we're having to communicate. But, yeah, look at all of these in Aquarius. And the moon happens to be, guess where? Lady Justice. Libra. One of Aquarius's sister air signs. And that's the only planet on that side, or only heavenly body on that side of the nodes on February 1st. It is the balancing of the scales. Libra is Lady Justice. That is the scales. That is, yeah, the scales balanced. And the moon that represents the goddess is sitting there. It's time for her justice, right? It is really about time. The rule of fear. Yeah. You have, just like Martin Luther King, I wish he was alive right now to see what's happening right now. You have nothing to fear but fear itself. He was so right. So, I hope this helps some of you to understand what's happening. I also like to just kind of rattle around thoughts, things that I'm trying to work out in my head. Because let me tell you, that never stops. Actually, shutting down this brain takes a whole lot. It's difficult. It took a long time for me to learn how to really meditate right. I naturally did it as a child, but as an adult, trying to spin out because I put my mind, set it to what the hell's going on down here? Because you got to sort that out before you can fix it, right? Yeah. Spinning a million miles a minute and managing to regain control of that and shut it down when I need to. Yeah, that's a task sometimes. But yeah. Anyway, so there it is. I'll provide a link. Do visit her Astro because she describes what's going on with the energy better. But I don't think that she's aware of what this means exactly with all these planets marching into Aquarius like this. And the significance of the date, February 1st. Now, also remember that the 2nd is Groundhog Day. Many of us feel like we're living in that Groundhog Day. And the age of Aquarius will not feel like that. As we move into it, people won't be in that very reserved, restricted environment anymore, where they feel like every day is just the same grind, day after day after day, because the plans I have will change that. They'll actually look forward to their days and not dread their drive to work. Anyway, very interesting, right? I hope you have a fantastic month ahead, because it's a doozy. Look forward to the 1st, because that's the day that Venus enters Aquarius and steps fully into her power. For sure, it's going to be a day to celebrate. So it'll be like the New Year's. So we get a New Year's twice. Look at it that way. So all the trials and tribulations and craziness that's going to happen in this next month will be a reward at the end. because the grand age will happen. The queen steps into her power. They tell me I must. Don't really want to. Not in the way people think. So, we will chat soon. I promise that prophecy that talks about this very happening. And, yeah. Remember, you are loved beyond all comprehension by the one that created you. Me, like I said, I'm at the very least, an avatar, a representative, at the very least. Anyway, take care.